If you still think Claude Artifacts are just for developers or people writing code, you're actually leaving hours of productivity on the table. Most people treat the artifacts like a static preview, but they're missing the engine underneath that's built for everyday work. So this week, the first thing I wanted to show you all is around documentation reading. Claude has a very enriched documentation, which I certainly appreciate because I also use Gemini, as you see in different videos of mine. I also use other AI tools, but I would say that Claude is definitely one of them that you get a lot of document context that you could use to learn. For example, what are artifacts and how do I use them? There is a link right here, and it talked about what are artifacts, what type of things are considered artifacts, and these are something that you could edit, iterate on, or reuse outside of the conversation that you had with the AI. And it represents a complex piece of content that stands on its own without requiring actual conversation context. So if you need to create artifacts, either in plain text or markdown, code snippets, HTML website, images, the newer ones are diagrams and flowcharts, the interactive React components, those are all the artifacts that can be created. Reading this piece of documentation is really cool, but it doesn't really give me that feeling that I'm learning AI, right, within the tool. I could certainly read that and continue to read it, but that's not what we will do. Tip number 2 right here, instead of continue to read the documentation, I wanted to show you how to use Claude to teach me to read that specific page. Right now, as you can see, I am in Claude and I put in a prompt that is specifically written to help me read this documentation. And based only on this documentation, I want Claude to walk me through the 3 most powerful ways that a lot of users get to be overlooking. So not only I am limiting the prompt to this specific documentation, I am also letting Claude to do that in-depth thinking for me and summarize those most 3 powerful ways. So let's get into the result right here to see what Claude came up with. Well, the very first overlooked feature for artifacts are the branching versions. Most people know you can ask Claude to update an artifact. However, we don't necessarily know that Claude saves the previous versions for those artifacts. So for example, if I am creating an artifact, maybe some code, I could continue to iterate that, right? Maybe having version 1 and the version 1 was not something specifically clear based on my prompt, and I changed it to V2, and then maybe some of my colleagues had put in their input and that became V3. In this case, you could actually go with different directions, right? However, instead of losing your previous work, you could fork your work non-disruptively, which is a pretty big deal if you think about it, because you now have a parallel forked version of your work, and you could save a previous version just like what we did when we write a doc in Word, and it gives builders or creators a lot more flexibility when it comes to the artifacts. And let's take a look into the second one, a shareable mini app with no API key required. If you're not a developer and you don't know what an API key is, no worries, you could still have a shareable mini app. So now, with the AI-powered artifacts feature, you can share something a lot more than the static outputs such as documents or code, but something bigger. You could build artifacts that can enable AI capabilities, turning them into AI-powered apps. Those apps could help you answer questions, generate creative content, or provide personalized content, right? Or even playing games or adapting responses based on input. Last but not least, the persistent storage across sessions. If we're not familiar with the storage concept, maybe you wouldn't get a chance to explore. However, artifacts can store data across sessions, enable the stateful application, such as journals, trackers, and collaborative tools. There are two different modes. For persistent storage, you could have personal storage, or you could even have shared storage. That means an artifact can act like a real app with the backend, and it will remember things between visits. There is a catch. The persistent storage is only available for published artifacts, and I will show you how a published artifact looks different than a unpublished artifacts that stays in your session. All of those are really cool, and let me quickly show you how to build an HTML website easily and make that as an artifact outcome. So I am in the Claude chat window right now. I asked Claude to build me a premium online coffee shop that is called Cloud Grind, and this coffee shop would have a product listing page with 4 different types of coffee listed. Each one of them would have its name, the price, and a short description. And then I want Claude to give me a add to cart button for each one of these coffee and a cart sidebar that would show the items, and if I clicked on multiple items and added to the cart, I wanted to have a total and also a checkout button to link that with any of the payment method that I have. So I wanted to make the design dark, modern, and minimum. And this is exactly what Claude did by building me this website. So as you can see that it is a very sleek type of HTML website that's built within minutes. It gave me the different types of coffee as I asked. I could put them into the cart as if I wanted to, and I can even have a preview type of HTML page. I asked Claude, build me this page as an artifact, and right here, Claude gave me the result of this working website in its interface. And none of that was in any of the paid versions, so you could just try this if you wanted to see the result right there. I will copy and paste this example prompt in the chat, and you see it right here. I am having my website, and if I clicked on any of these coffee and I wanted to add them into the chart, I am having a sidebar checkout window right there as well that I could use that to place my order. So it's functional actually, so it's pretty cool. But if I wanted to change this design, maybe create a new version of this design, instead of starting from scratch, I can just go from here and ask Claude to change the design to maybe a more light, bright, and even pink color background instead of this dark minimum theme. So as you can see, Claude can do that right away. It just created a different version of my design, and it looks really lovely and springy, right? If I make this design into an artifact, you can see that I now have a completely different website. It serves the same functionality, but with different themes that I have selected. So this is just a very quick 10-minute type of build that you can have with the artifacts. And all of them will be saved under the sidebar here, right under the artifact. You can now see I have this Cloud Grind coffee store HTML. Now, whenever I wanted to go back to this, to where I am, I can just open this specific design. But one thing I do wanted to note, if I wanted to see the versions for both designs in Artifact as of today, Well, Claude doesn't have a type of version control that is as powerful as Git. However, in this conversation, you can see that both of the files are already saved and they are completely accessible from these links above, right? You could see the dark version, you could also see the pink version. You could download both of them and open them in separate browser tabs. Let's talk about the setup. You've just built a stunning HTML dashboard or a landing page prototype in Claude. It looks great in the previews window, but how do you get that into the hands of your customer or your colleagues without making them log into your Claude account? Here's how you generate a live shareable URL in seconds. So I am in Claude right now. As you can see that I have built this Cloud Grind SaaS, and it is popping up as an artifact. The site is fully baked with the premium design that I wanted to have, and it has all type of coffee beans that I can add it to the cart. If I click on add to cart for this really cool medium roast, I could just see that being added and showing up in my cart, that I can also remove that as needed. But I wanted to share the URL of this site with my coworkers to take a look before we send that to the customer. To do that, I am going to click on copy and have publish artifact as a choice. And you see that it's going to have a pop-up window saying that I wanted to publish this, which will make it accessible to anyone on the internet and potentially visible in search engine results. So that's something you wanted to be aware of, which I'm fine with. So in that case, I am going to say yes, publish and copy link. And just like that, I now have the link that I can use in any of the browser of my choice. So I'm opening a new incognito tab and just post that link right here, and it can be shared with your audience.
Quick recap on what we covered today. First, what are Claude artifacts and where to find the documentation? Second, how to use prompt to highlight features like version control, mini app creation, and persistent storage. Third, we did a practical lab walkthrough of generating an interactive HTML artifact for my example site, Cloud Grind Coffee Shop. Then we also demonstrated how to iterate on an artifact and track changes within the chat window of Claude. Lastly, we went through how to share your artifacts with others by publishing your artifact and share a simple URL.